One summer, a few years ago now, I bought myself a Euro pass and travelled Europe by train. It was on one of my first train rides that I met Arun Ravishankar, somewhere between Berlin and Venice. I opened the door of my carriage and a friendly voice called down from the top bunk on the left-hand side. "Hello, my name is Arun. It's so nice to meet you." Arun was from India and was around my age. He'd won a scholarship to study science in Munich and was now in his last week of travels before returning back home. I climbed up onto my sleeper and we sat opposite each other and swapped stories of our travels so far. When Arun spoke about things he felt strongly about, his eyes would light up and his hands would dance. "My true passions in life are physics and South Indian classical music," he'd informed me in our first 3 minutes of conversation. "I sing South Indian classical music quite well." He told me about a village in Austria called Warfen. "Promise me, Sammy, you will visit Warfen." He was so sincere, sitting there eagerly, urging me to find the world as beautiful and wondrous as he did. All I could do was promise. "Okay, Arun, before I leave Europe, I will go to Warfen." I went to many fabulous places that summer. I was a week-long visitor in the attic of a house in a remote village in the Albanian Alps, where I climbed mountains and showered in waterfalls of melted snow. I watched the midnight sun in Norway, stole figs in Tuscany, visited galleries in Prague, danced in forests in Germany, swam in thermal baths in Iceland, and it wasn't until the summer was almost over that I remembered Arun and the promise I had made and realised my last stop must be Warfen. I caught a train from Salzburg and arrived in Warfen on a clear forget-me-not late August afternoon. I felt the type of peaceful awareness that comes from leaving all plans at home and simply wandering without purpose. Following a trail through the forest along the river, I met a little Warfen worm making his way painstakingly along a log. I stood in the forest and watched this worm for a long time. His journey up the log seemed like a closing chapter of everything I'd experienced that summer, and I felt so grateful that I put my own pre-planned agenda aside and followed through on the promise I'd made to Arun. When thinking about climate change and the effect it is having on the environment around us, I can't help but feel frustrated that so often we all forget to be aware of what is happening right in front of our noses. We get tunnel vision. We become so focused on our busy schedules that we don't even think about the impact we all have by simply not being aware of our actions. It's simple, really. Switching off a light when we leave a room, bringing a calico bag to the supermarket instead of packing everything into plastic, making sure we don't leave the shower tap to drip, drip, drip. It's a roundabout way of saying it, but when I think about how tuned in I felt at that moment, I realize that I must always be this engaged and aware. We're so unbelievably lucky to live on a planet like this. It's up to us to make sure that we don't ruin it for the future.